My name's Jenny. Many years ago, I had to do a plane trip. I was in the plane on my own, so I wasn't with anyone that I knew. And there was a problem with the aircraft and ended up having to do an emergency landing. But during that time, when I didn't know what was going on, I really thought that that was the end of my life, and I realised that I was totally unprepared for death. The only kind of spiritual philosophy or religious philosophy that I'd been exposed to was Christianity and the idea of heaven and hell, and I knew that I hadn't been to church for a while, and I thought, okay, well, what does this mean? I'm facing death. Maybe I'm going to hell because I haven't prepared for this. And I also realised that I hadn't probably lived my life in a fulfilling way, and that there were many things that I still wanted to complete. Everything turned out well with that plane trip, and we made it safely back to the airport. It certainly got me thinking about religion and also spirituality and ways of coming to a perspective that allowed me to feel comfortable with death. Particularly in Western society, we're not taught to really face it or think about it. Even the process of funerals and everything's quite hidden and things aren't talked about. So I looked into some Eastern philosophies, in particular Buddhism, and one of the first spiritual books that I read after that experience was the Tibetan book of Living and Dying. The Buddhist religion had quite extensive knowledge about what happened after death, and they could even talk about stages after death and what people could expect. Also, what I got from that book was the importance of the idea that we need to live our lives in preparation for death. It turned out that Buddhism wasn't really my philosophy to follow, and neither was religion in general, because to me it was full of dogma, and a lot of the ideas there didn't resonate with me. I really didn't believe in the idea of heaven or hell, or that stark contrast that had been presented to me in my childhood. So I had to find something that resonated with me, and that's what in the end drew me to yoga, because yoga is not about dogma. Through yoga you use your body and your mind, and you experiment with it, and you experiment with different practices, and it's an experiential philosophy. I was fortunate enough to start off with a really wonderful yoga teacher who'd spent a lot of time in an ashram and who'd lived the lifestyle of yoga, and was really able to present a traditional style of yoga to me. I was hooked straight away, and I started reading a lot of books on yoga, and eventually after many years of going to yoga classes, I decided to do some yoga training to become a yoga teacher. So I did 2 years of yogic studies, and during that time, people from the area started coming to me and asking me if I would teach them yoga. In the meantime, I'd also had a space built, a yoga room built, which was bigger than what I needed for my personal practice, and it was built with this idea in mind that I might one day teach yoga to a group of people. So it started out as a sanctuary, or a place where I could practice yoga without distraction, because I had 2 young children at the time, and then it grew into a small yoga studio. Over the course of all the time that I've been doing yoga, I've had some wonderful experiences, and it's certainly exposed me to experiences which make me feel without a doubt that there's something beyond this physical world, and we have the ability to connect with that and to connect with what's beyond this physical body. So people have all sorts of perceptions about yoga. People may have an idea that it's for hippies, or that it's out there, or people can have all sorts of ideas about it. But to look at the way the world operates from the yogic perspective, I mean, that can seem way out. That can seem like people are following a dogma, and that they're really living in a dream, and they're captured by advertising and media. So it seems strange for me to think that people might think that yoga's an illusion, or that yoga's something that's spacey or not grounded in reality. To me, I look at the way the most of the real world operates, and I find that more cultish than what yoga is.